Within the glittering world of fame, a shadowy and disturbing phenomenon occasionally emerges: celebrities who meet their tragic end at the hands of their own fans. This theme delves into the chilling stories of famous individuals who, despite their adoration by fans, fell victim to the dark side of obsession, leading to their untimely demise. John Lennon, on December 8, 1980, 40-year-old Beatles legend and rock icon John Lennon, who eerily predicted his own death, was shot 5 times in the back outside his Manhattan apartment building by former Beatles fan Mark David Chapman. Why? We still don't know. According to The Independent, Chapman has given many conflicting reasons as to why he killed Lennon, such as seeking fame, as well as his spiritual beliefs. In 2010, Chapman stated he had a hit list that included Elizabeth Taylor, Paul McCartney, and late-night legend Johnny Carson, but chose Lennon out of convenience. He also expressed hatred of Lennon's hit Imagine, which he believed made the iconic musician a communist and a hypocrite. He told us to imagine no possessions, and there he was, with millions of dollars in yachts and farms and country estates, laughing at people like me who had believed the lies and bought the records and built a big part of their lives around his music. A year after the murder, Chapman was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison and was denied parole for the 11th time in 2020. Ironically, Chapman's desire for fame was one of the factors behind his parole denial in 2018, with the board stating that if he was released, someone may attempt or succeed in harming you out of anger and/or revenge, or for the same reason that you did John Lennon, to assume notoriety. Rebecca Schaeffer. Although the sitcom My Sister Sam only enjoyed a brief 2-year run, actor Rebecca Schaeffer was the show's breakout star and was set to take Hollywood by storm. That all changed on July 18, 1989, when the 21-year-old was shot and killed in the doorway of her Hollywood home by obsessed fan Robert John Bardo, who had been stalking her for 3 years, via the Los Angeles Times. Bardo repeatedly wrote her letters, but his obsession took a dark turn when he hired a private investigator to find her home address through the California Department of Motor Vehicles. According to Today, Schaeffer was auditioning for a role in The Godfather 3 and had been expecting the script to be delivered to her door, but was greeted by Bardo instead. He then came back a second time with a .357 handgun. During a jailhouse interview, Bardo revealed that Schaeffer's last words were "Why? Why?" via E. Bardo was sentenced to life in prison the following year. The senseless and brutal killing led to the passing of the Driver's Protection Act, which made it a crime to obtain or release personal information from a California resident's DMV records. Schaeffer's My Sister Sam co-star, Pam Dauber, told ABC News in 2019 that she still carries guilt over the incident. "I was so devastated, as everyone else was as well. I thought of Rebecca every day of my life, probably for 2 years," she said. Gianni Versace. On the morning of July 15, 1997, legendary fashion mogul Gianni Versace was walking back to his Miami mansion from a coffee run when he was shot twice in the back of the head by spree killer Andrew Cunanan, via Time. According to Vanity Fair, 27-year-old Cunanan claimed to have met the fashion icon in 1990 and bragged that the two were friends. Versace's family denied these claims, and law enforcement was unable to determine why Versace was targeted. "I don't know that we are ever going to know the answers," Miami Beach Police Chief Richard Barreto said at the time, per CNN. The name behind the iconic fashion brand was the last victim of Cunanan's cross-country murder spree, which claimed the lives of 5 men. 6 days after Versace's murder, Cunanan's body was found on a Miami houseboat, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, via CNN. In 2018, the Ryan Murphy produced The Assassination of Gianni Versace. American Crime Story hit the airwaves, and Versace's family was not pleased. The Versace family has neither authorized nor had any involvement whatsoever in the forthcoming TV series about the death of Mr. Gianni Versace, their statement read, via Vanity Fair. Since Versace did not authorize the book on which it is partly based, nor has it taken part in the writing of the screenplay, This TV series should only be considered as a work of fiction. Christina Grimmie. At the young age of 22, singer Christina Grimmie's career suggested a superstar on the rise. With a third-place finish on The Voice and 2 studio albums under her belt, Grimmie was set to take the music industry by storm. All that promise came crashing down on June 10, 2016, when obsessed fan Kevin Loibl fatally shot her 4 times during a meet and greet following a concert in Orlando. A witness at the event said that Grimmie opened her arms to her killer, waiting to greet him with a hug, according to the Daily Mail. Her brother then jumped across the merchandise booth to tackle Loibl, but he managed to escape, then killed himself almost instantly. Described by his friend as loner with an unrealistic infatuation with this singer, 27-year-old Loibl spent most of his waking hours watching Christina on YouTube, as well as constantly monitoring her social media accounts, and even went to great lengths to change his appearance with rapid weight loss, LASIK, teeth whitening, and hair implants, so he would be more attractive to his obsession, via the Orlando Sentinel. Due to the lax security that didn't detect Loibl's 2 handguns, Grimmie's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the venue 6 months after her death. However, 3 years later, the lawsuit was dropped with no explanation given, per Orlando's Fox 35. Dimebag Darrell. On December 8, 2004, legendary Pantera guitarist Dimebag Darrell was performing with his new band, Damage Plan, at a Columbus, Ohio nightclub. Tragedy struck during the band's first song, when a fan named Nathan Gale rushed the stage while reportedly shouting, "You broke up Pantera." He then shot the rock god in the head, via the New York Daily News. Darrell was just 38. Gale then shot and killed a bouncer and 2 concertgoers, and also took a hostage, before being killed by a police officer. Gale's former friend, Jeremy Bray, told the Columbus Dispatch, via USA Today, that the eventual killer would write down Pantera lyrics and try to pass them off as his own. He was off his rocker, Bray said. He said they were his songs, that Pantera stole them from him, and that he was going to sue them. Another friend told the New York Daily News that Gale idolized Pantera's lead singer, and that the band's breakup pushed the 25-year-old over the edge. He was hardcore into Pantera, he said. In 2010, a protective fence was erected around Darrell's grave after several vandalism attempts. "It's just a real disrespectful thing," Pantera drummer Vinnie Paul told Artisan News. "I don't understand why somebody would want to scratch their name in somebody's tombstone or anything. But fans are rabid, man, they do unheard of things. I just wish they would respect him and let him rest in peace and just leave it at that." Selena Quintanilla Perez, already known as the Queen of Tejano music, Latina singer Selena Quintanilla Perez, known the world over as simply Selena, was set to cross over into pop superstardom with the release of her first English-language album, 1995's Dreaming of You. Unfortunately, she wouldn't live to see its monumental success. On March 31, 1995, Selena was lured to a Days Inn motel in Corpus Christi, Texas, where she was shot and killed by the president of her fan club, Yolanda Saldivar, via the New York Times. 32-year-old Saldivar then fled to her pickup truck in the motel's parking lot, where she threatened suicide for 10 hours, before being arrested by authorities. Selena's father stated that Saldivar had recently been fired from managing the chart-topper's boutique for embezzling funds. In 2012, Saldivar's brother told TMZ that she was carrying out her life sentence in solitary confinement due to her own safety. Andres Escobar: mistakes in sports happen every day, but Colombia's Andres Escobar paid for his with his life. Heavily favored to win the World Cup on June 23, 1994, Colombia lost in a shocking 2-1 upset to the United States after Escobar, attempting to block a shot, kicked the ball into his team's own net. 10 days after the match, Escobar was partying with friends at Restaurante El Indio in Medellin, when 3 people began shouting insults at him, and the situation quickly escalated into deadly violence. All of a sudden, we heard gunfire, and then Escobar was on the ground, groaning and clutching his chest, witness Jorge Arango said, via Time, with one of the perpetrators reportedly saying, "Thanks for the auto goal, you son of a BH." Escobar died 45 minutes later after being shot 12 times. According to the Los Angeles Times, Colombian authorities believe that drug traffickers who lost big on the game marked Escobar for death. The perpetrator in question, Humberto Muñoz Castro, was sentenced to 42 years in prison, but was released after only 11, per Fox News. A year after his death, Escobar's family created the Andrés Escobar Social Project, a soccer program for disadvantaged youth. "We are not trying to produce great soccer players, rather, great human beings," his father said, via the Los Angeles Times. The school's main objective is to teach children values so that they say no to drugs and to theft. Albert Abbas. On August 23, 2014, Cameroonian soccer star Albert Abbas died after a match in Nigeria. According to The Guardian, Abbas was allegedly struck in the head by a flying projectile thrown by angry fans. However, a Cameroonian pathologist, Dr. André Mana, pushed back on the cause of death 3 months later by stating that Abbas's wounds were more consistent with a brutal beating, via The Guardian. The autopsy report revealed that Abbas suffered an indentation of the skull and a rupture of his cervical vertebrae that the doctor believed was caused by a knife. "When you see the injuries to his shoulders, the only way that can be explained is by a physical attack," Mana told BBC TV, via BBC Sport. Shortly after his death, we saw a video of Abbas, after the match, surrounded by police and leaving the pitch to enter the dressing room, he continued. "We didn't see anything happen to him on the pitch or anything that prevented him leaving the pitch because of a missile. It can't be a slate tile, as the Algerians stated in their report, because if someone threw a tile, even at high speed, it couldn't cause such severe wounds like the ones I found on the body." At the time of this writing, nobody has been charged with Abbas's death, and the questions about the cause remain. In conclusion, the stories of celebrities murdered by their own fans are sobering reminders of the complexities of fame. These tragedies serve as a stark warning about the blurred lines between admiration and obsession, urging us to reflect on the consequences of unchecked devotion. As we continue to celebrate and idolize our favorite stars, we must also strive to ensure that the boundaries of admiration remain intact, preventing such chilling incidents from ever occurring again in the world of celebrity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.